What's up, everybody? So it's a couple days after Halloween, and I just wanted to show everyone how well the interior structure of our creepy little cult guys held up. Now we originally got this design idea from Stiltbeast Studios. He's the guy who actually came up with the idea to make these creepy druid guys out of landscaping fabric. So shout out to Stiltbeast Studios. Alan is amazing, does amazing work. However, his interior structure was a PVC pipe into a 5-gallon bucket filled with cement. Now, I wanted to be able to take these guys down and store them over the winter, and I didn't want to have to store multiple 5-gallon buckets full of cement. So I came up with a slightly different idea, and I based it off the way that I did all of my tombstones, and it's basically just a PVC pipe. If I can lift it up here. Okay, I can't really lift it up to show you because it's tied down, but it's just a PVC pipe stuck over top of a piece of rebar. Okay, so I just took a 10-foot piece of rebar, I cut off a bunch of 1-foot sections, hammered it in the ground, I slid the PVC over the rebar, and then my wife came up with this idea to just use fishing line to stake it down. Okay, my original idea was to build 2 legs off the PVC, 2 pieces of rebar, but I didn't have that much PVC and I didn't want to spend any money. So she came up with this genius idea, and it held up so well. I can't believe how well it worked. It's literally just a fishing line. Okay, I took a screw. Oh, it's out of focus here. I took a screw and put a washer, and I tied the fishing line around it, and I ran it down into the ground into a stake, tied that tight, and hammered that down, and I did it on both sides. And basically what that does, it's going to prevent the guy from twisting like this so much. Like this guy over here. So this is really the most they've done the whole time. Look at that. That's it. Just a little bit of wobble. And I'm completely okay with that little bit of wobble, right? This guy had the worst of it all because he's bent forward now, if you can kind of see. And that's because I only used a 1-foot piece of rebar. And when I do this next year, I would use a 3-foot piece of rebar. That way you got 1 foot of rebar under the ground and 2 feet of rebar sticking out, which would give him a lot more support, and then it would make him stand up tall. So basically it's just a piece of PVC, like I said, over a piece of rebar. And then I had a bunch of spare wood. Like everything we made here, even this guy, is made out of like 95% just recycled and spare materials. So I had plenty of PVC laying around. That's why there's so many connectors. I just used what I had. And then I had some scrap wood. So I drilled a hole in the wood, and I only went about, a quarter of the way through the wood. And then I just used hot glue to glue it in. And then on the top, I used a smaller piece, and again, just drilled a quarter of the way through, hot glued it in. And that allows me to set mannequin heads. See, I just set a mannequin head over top of it. Or this one here is just like an old zombie head. And he's just hot glued. Ugh, I can't even get him off. He's just hot glued on top of that, right? And then this is just some spare foam we had. Stiltbeast Studios, again, he does a similar thing, and I think he uses like old skulls or old milk jugs for the shoulders. We just use what we had. We had this foam that's used for gardening, so we use that, build up a little bit of shoulders. And of course, you could add arms to these guys. Like if you notice, none of these guys have arms. You could add arms pretty simply by just using like a PVC connector, right, and building off and coming out. And then if you need the arm to be stable, you can use a piece of PVC. I can't even talk. You can use another piece of PVC coming off the elbow to make him more stable. But these guys have held up really, really well. And this cost us basically nothing because, again, we had all of this stuff, or almost all of this stuff. We had the PVC, we had the string, we had the stakes, we had everything here except for the rebar. And I bought one $10 piece of rebar, and it did all of these guys. And then I guess my tombstones, I didn't use rebar, and I bought these stakes that cost $1 a piece. It's actually the same price as rebar, but I didn't have to cut it. And my tombstones came out great. All of these tombstones were made with a single $25 piece of styrofoam insulation. And we accidentally bought the wrong kind. You should use the pink kind. We accidentally bought the white kind. And the difference is that the white kind crumbles a lot more than the pink kind. But on a side note, it kind of gave it a little bit of a more realistic stone texture. And I'm pretty happy with how they came out for... We got 19 tombstones out of a $25 piece of foam. This is one of my favorite ones here. And I used a Dremel with a depth gauge bit to cut some of these out, but most of them were cut out just using the end of a hot glue gun. Like this guy here, we just took a hot glue gun, heated it up, and dug the hot glue gun in it. And as you can see, it's wider. They don't look as clean as the Dremel, but they work. They get the point across. And to hold these guys down, I just used a piece of PVC. I'll pull this off, and a 99-cent spike. These are 1 foot long. They cost $1, cost just as much as rebar, and it doesn't need cutting. And I just dug a groove in the styrofoam, and I used construction adhesive to glue this in place, although hot glue probably would have worked just fine. And that's how they've all been put down, and they're all held in perfectly fine. Like, none of them have twisted or turned. Like, they're on there really well. And again, this cost me 25 bucks in foam, $19 in stakes, and then spare paint. And then again, these guys, like I said, how I made them. And then this guy here, again, spare wood. I just had wood laying around that I built this kind of makeshift frame. It's literally just a 1x4 on the sides, right? It goes down, and this is a spare 2x6. Up, over, down, 2x6, and then 1x4 straight up. Simple as that. Drilled a hole on each end. This is a rotisserie motor that I had laying around. PVC pipe that I painted black. And then obviously a skeleton that my wife did a really solid job at corpsing. And that's it. Oh, sorry. And this is our fake fire coals, which everyone's making these things. Super simple. It's just great stuff foam with embedded LEDs in it. And then I stuck a bunch of bones in it. And if I did it again, I would make this skull hollow so the lights come through his eyes and mouth. That would have been really cool. But we wanted to do this again as cheap as possible and as quickly as possible because we had a lot of stuff to make, as you can see. So, yeah. Mainly I just wanted to show you these guys, but also I figured I'd give you a little preview, or I'd show you our makeshift and cheap cemetery as well. But if you have any questions on any of this stuff, let me know. I'll try to answer it. I just really love making stuff out of parts that you already have. I hate buying stuff. I really hate buying new stuff. Oh, one last thing. I made this cool book. This is just a repurposed Spirit Halloween guy. I just put a robe on him. That's it. That's literally all I did. And then he used to have a butler like tray, and I took it off, and I made this book out of cardboard, which turned out pretty good, but it got really warped from the rain. But yeah, the book turned out neat. So again, let me know if you have any questions on anything here, and I'll do my best to help you out. See ya.